Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. This is the All Bahamian Brand. Today on the All Bahamian Brand, we have a special guest. We have one of the best and probably the best and the most successful Bahamian basketball coach and administrator in placing Bahamian talent in and at the college level over the last 5 to 10 years, 12 years. Ladies and gentlemen, we have special guest, Mr. Eugene Bullard Sr. here on the All Bahamian Brand. Mr. Bullard?
Good afternoon, everybody out there. It's a pleasure to be here, my brother.
Good. Thanks for having me. Thanks for coming. So, just first of all, first things first, we'd like to say we got to take the oath. The oath is raise your right hand, look into our cameras. Don't say anything without your lawyer. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you basketball gods?
Of course, brother. The question is, can they handle the truth? That's the question.
Okay then. You still didn't say I do.
I do.
I got you. First and for all, tell us your Bahamian basketball resume or your basketball resume. Where did you start playing? Where did the game all start for you?
Well, the game started with me in Chipping Arm. I played mini, super mini, and junior with the mighty Butards. I had a great coach at the time. We call him BrandED, and he's from the Chipping Arm area. And that's where my basketball really started, from the mini program, going straight up to super mini and into junior. Played high school basketball as well. A lot of people didn't know I went to SAC, but also went to St. Anne's as well. Right? Yeah, I went to St. Anne's, and when I went to St. Anne's, we didn't have a basketball team, and a lot of the persons who I played against actually in the summers were all on different teams, mainly the Rockets, all these different Coca-Cola, Warriors. There was a lot of teams back then, and one thing we all had in common is that we all love basketball, but St. Anne's at the time didn't have a basketball team, and they actually was riding horse and playing two-iron touch football. So, coming from a basketball background, we were like, come on, man, all of us like basketball, but we didn't have a coach. So myself and a good friend of mine, Phil Hyler, we went and we found which actually was my summer league competitor coach in Godfrey McQuaid. And McQuaid was working at Oaksfield Primary at the time as a security guard. And we went and spoke with him and asked him if he would like to volunteer his services with us at St. Anne's. And he came in and he actually put us together. He coached us. All the guys that played in all those different teams during the summer, we actually came together on one common goal, which is St. Anne's, Blue Waves basketball. And we actually won our first year straight out the bat under the tutelage of Godfrey McQuaid. We went on to double peak. We had two championships, and that's where the mighty Blue Waves legacy began, right there with that summer league program. A bunch of us wanted to play basketball, didn't have a coach, and we went and we asked Godfrey McQuaid, God bless his soul, to come out and represent us as our coach. He did it pro bono, he did it for free, and after a while, the success that he had, they offered him a job, and he started to run to St. Anne's, and that's sort of legacy. But all the persons who came behind us, that's where it all began, right there for St. Anne's basketball.
Right. So we got the progenitor, the person that kind of started, put St. Anne's on the map. Like you said, they was riding carriage and shooting bow and arrow. And just so you know, St. Anne's is probably one of the most successful high schools in basketball and sports in the Bahamas. Of course, you have the St. Augustine. They've also always been either the competitor or top competitor. Always have one or two or three good players, and Coach Bullard was part of that first resurgence. Tell us about where did you go on to? Let me backtrack a second. Just on that point, Coach Bullard was the first in the long line of successful players to come from St. Anne's. Some of you might have heard of, like he said, Philip Hyler. Others might have heard of, Emily Delancey. former college player. You've also heard of Alfred Delancey, bless his soul. It's almost too much to name. You know, everybody's heard of Yellow or Rachel Portier. Everybody's heard of,
Jermaine Smith.
Jermaine Smith. You probably know some more of these guys. Let us know, you know, some of the good people and great talent that come. You know, former MVP Hugh Campbell, Benson Young has been at St. Anne's. Fabian Lightburn has been at St. Anne's. Who's who, top talented player, the pride of Fox Hill, St. Augustine's, rival of St. Augustine's. St. Anne's has always been a powerhouse. Anybody forgetting? Probably forgetting somebody.
Yeah, it's a lot, man.
But it's a lot of talent.
Cover everybody.
Yeah, but you can't call it. A lot of talent has come through St. Anne's school. And Right Chair Coach Bullard was the first one to kind of help build that program. Was it originated with the building of programs if you look at it from then?
Yeah, well, we saw the need for it. You know, like I said, I just recently got removed from St. Augustine's College and I went to St. Anne's. So being in St. Anne's, you know, we didn't have much activities that were going on that I would say that the type of young men that was in the system at the time wanted to participate in, mainly basketball. So that would have been the first team that St. Anne's would have had. And like I said, right off the bat, we had instant success.
Good. Which is always tough to do in any league. After that, tell us where you go on to. Tell us what happened next for you in basketball or sports.
Well, I didn't spend too many years at St. Anne's. You know, back then we would want to say that people were misunderstood. I wouldn't say troublemakers. But, you know, without proper guidance and counseling, you know, young men do go astray. And it led me to have to leave St. Anne's as well. And I actually ended up in Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas, where I continued my high school career. Also played basketball there. And I actually graduated from Irving High, which is in Dallas, Texas. I had a couple of offers of local colleges in Texas. I decided to come home for a bit, and then went off back to Florida. I was in Atlanta. I played some brief ball at the time in Atlanta. That's where it really came to an end for me because I blew my ACL. You know, that was a very devastating injury that kept me away from basketball for a very long time because I couldn't actually play. And that's how it led me to coaching because I needed to be closer to the game. And it led me down a path where I actually volunteered with some of the guys in my community that wanted to put together a basketball team just to play versus different communities. And spawned from there where even that was overwhelming success because we were just going from different neighborhoods with the little program that we had, and we just were winning tournaments everywhere that we go that entire summer. Summer came to an end, and one of the young men that I coached, he actually went to Kingsway. And at the time, they didn't have a coach, so he asked me if I could come on and help them out with building that program. And that led into us taking Kingsway program to a level where they actually began to win a few games. You know, and I moved on from Kingsway. I went to Galilee where we had success there again building that program where we won on college level as well. I coached the high school straight up to the college program that they had, and we won on every level there. We also I went after leaving Kingsway to King's College where once again built another program that had a lot of success. I left Kingsway and actually settled in at Westminster where I had an offer to go to a couple of different schools at this point because of my resume starting to grow of being able to build programs and have success with it. So at the time, I had a couple of schools knocking on my door, but I decided to go to Westminster because they didn't have a program and it wasn't known for nothing but being that win on anybody's roster. You know, when you look at your roster and you say, okay, I got 12 or 13 games to play, I may not beat these guys, but I know this one for sure we're going to win. So we're not going to end the season without a loss because we know we're going to beat this particular team. So that was the team, and that was the reputation that Westminster had at the time. And so I wanted to challenge myself on being able to create something from nothing. And during our first year at Westminster, man, we went and we won the ISS championship first year out. And that led into us being a target now because nobody really nobody really thought that Westminster College could have done it all. You know, we had some big upsets where we were climbing up the basketball ladder, but you know, people saying they're just an upstart program and they're not going to really win it all. They could beat this school, but they can't beat the big boys. And when we end up playing all the big guys, we end up, you know, being very successful at them. And at that time, we were actually ranked the #1 basketball program in the country for upstart program. Right. You know, and we end up beating actually the defending 2 years champs. And the Princeville Falcons put out a really phenomenal basketball team that was led by Donnie.
Yes.
He was a real phenomenal basketball player. He went on to have tremendous success not only in basketball but in his career with his personal life, which shows and tells a lot about his personal character outside of basketball.
But backtrack, let me follow up with the names. Couple of things there. Kingsway Academy, the Saints, the alma mater of one Mr. Ulrich Fox, or Rick Fox, the people know, left right there. Was definitely a doormat in BISS basketball at the bottom of the heap for many years. That's one. Galilee, a smaller private school institution that was thought about just simply as a place that people go to get their education and have a second chance. That's two. That's in the Joe Farrington area or the southeastern area of the Bahamas. And also for those of you that don't know, Westminster College in the far western end of New Providence. Definitely, like he said, the one win that you know you were going to get at one point in time was Westminster College. Also, finally, on the name, Jonathan Moss, Jordan Prince William at the time actually had probably one of the best top teams in the country by our rankings at that time. Jonathan Moss led the entire Caribbean in scoring and rebounding at the CBC championships. Also had Mario Dean, also had Jermaine Swan, Rashard Williams. So a lot of good basketball. But when Westminster showed up on the scene, things changed. At the point in time, Westminster College started a run of about 4 championships, BISS championships in a row, which hadn't been done in a long time.
Hadn't been done ever.
It hadn't been done ever,
That's
actually.
correct that. We're talking facts now, right? The whole truth and nothing but the truth.
The whole truth, nothing but the truth.
So not only is that a BISS record, that's a record in basketball in the Bahamas, period.
We might have some dispute on that with St. Augustine's College,
St.
but
Augustine's may have won 1 year in a row, 2 years in a row, got defeated, came back 1, 2, and maybe 3. But no school has done it 1, 2, 3, 4 in a row.
In a row. We gonna
Without
check
breaks.
that.
Without breaks. That's a fact.
We gonna check that. But
no school.
No school, according to the history. We'll check. We open the fact check. Comment, like, Facebook. Let us know. If you have proof of it, only proof.
Please share it.
Please share it. But Westminster College, definitely, with the players like
Delroy Granderson.
Let's go way back.
Let's go way back.
Gunzo is his first name is
Rashad Morley.
Rashad Morley. You know,
Larry Smith.
Let's get into those stories a little bit. Coach Bullard, when he first started, took some of the players that a lot of people didn't really work with, didn't develop. Kids that kind of bounced around or went other places, but when they got in with Coach Bullard at Westminster or the Local Prep Academy, they kind of worked and had some success. Gunzo or Rashad Morley was one of those kids. Larry Smith.
Vado Burrows.
Go ahead, Kobe. Everybody knows Kobe.
Right? Everybody know Christoph Stewart, but his street name is Hershey. Right? Hershey's, these guys are terrorizing Night League on a daily basis.
MVP last year.
And you have my son, Gino Bullard Jr. He didn't stay to Westminster that long because he ended up transitioning to Ridley College in Canada.
Right.
You have Morocco Lundy. He led the league in scoring.
Led the country in scoring.
Scoring, man. This guy was just a scoring, phenomenal scorer. One of our best three-point shooters ever. High school basketball. He really owned it. For the last 2 years of his high school career, there wasn't anybody that probably had the mindset and intent as a basketball player, but also matched that on the court, being over 3-point average student.
Right.
So we have a lot of players that are phenomenal basketball players, but they're lacking when it comes down to their academic performance.
We gonna get to that. You got Tenero Ferguson.
We got Tenero
You got
Ferguson.
Delroy Grandison.
Grandison.
Coach, you forgetting something. You got so much of them.
There's so much. You got Shamar Burrows.
Marlboro's
You know, don't forget Van Hutchinson Jr.
Bubba.
They call Bubba.
Yeah.
Right? And you have many of these guys who are now transitioned on.
Kevin Cooper.
Right? Kevin Cooper came from MPA.
Yeah.
But we talking about the old Westminster.
Old Westminster. Okay.
Yeah.
Some other kids that had some good success from even the days before, I guess Kings or Kingsway, whatever it was.
Jarrell Coakley.
Relly was one of those players. Then went on to be a junior college all-region player.
Kyle Roberts.
Kylie Roberts was there. We got a lot of history here. Coach Bullard's been a part of some success. So taking kids that everybody rejected, everybody gave up on, and then giving them a career and pushing them on something else. So I'm sorry if we forget anybody, but it's been so much that has good success.
Yeah, it's been a lot of students. And let's clarify that now, because they're not just the athletes. They're
students.
These are students who are graduated, 3-point average and above, and we've transitioned them from NPA that we are now and formerly of Westminster College onto a college athlete. They're able to make that transition from high school. Like for instance, guys like Rashad Morley, who we call Gonzo, these guys have college degrees. So this is the key when we're talking about a student athlete and having local success as a basketball player, but able to take that talent on to another level where they're able to get rewarded academically with degrees. Gonzo also played semi-pro and he did all these things, but at the end of the day, when we're able to put the basketball down, he's able to have a superb life because he actually has a quality education.
Tell us about, I'm assuming that's a segue into how Noble Rep Academy came about. Tell us about that.
So that's actually exactly why we had to move on. And at the time, we were being very dominant in the BISS, which we had 4 consecutive high school wins.
And hold on, we got to make something of note. Just an example of that dominance was Westminster College winning. We have documentation of this. This is recorded. Westminster College won by 100 points in a BAIS competition. At that point in time, what else? It's definitely that they were at the top of the Bahamas in basketball at a high school level. So
at that point, we were averaging in our victories at least 50 to 60 points.
Yeah.
And at that particular time, and it was basically because we went way beyond what regular programs were doing. We had our summer camp every year in Cuba.
Yeah.
Right? So we were training with Cuba's best athletes.
Yeah.
Their junior national teams, their senior national teams, their coaches that were on Olympic level. If these guys were living in the States, they would be NBA coaches. Yeah. And these would have been NBA quality players that we were sharpening our iron on. And these guys were just high school players at the time playing against this type of talent. And we had a very strict regime as far as our performance and our training sessions during that time. Right? So we also traveled immensely through Canada, where we played top universities like York University.
Yeah.
We played Niagara College before I was even affiliated with it.
Yeah.
We played Sheridan College. We played Brock University. So we played very high level basketball when these guys were just 9th graders, 10th graders, 11th graders. Mm-hmm. So coming back home, they had no fear of the big crowd. They had no reason to be intimidated by any school name because we already tested ourselves on quality programs that were outside the country. Yeah. So at that particular time, we beat QC 120 to 20. And we just dominated the BISS. Yeah. And not only the BISS, any government school, any team from Freeport, because we also traveled to Freeport and played in the Moon Marquis tournament every year, but we were consecutive winners of the junior and senior divisions in that program every summer. Yeah. So it was not only playing against Nassau basketball or Freeport basketball, we went to Abaco, we went all over, we traveled immensely. So the basketball IQ of our guys was very high and very sharp, but they also had the academic performance to back it up. All right, so we concluded our tenure at Westminster with 4 straight guys test victories.
Yeah.
We played 4 years in a row, and this is the difference between saying that, okay, a school may have won a particular title 5 or 6 or 7 times. It's a big difference in being able to do it 1 year, the 2nd year, the 3rd year, and the 4th year consecutively.
Right.
Because anybody knows, even in the NBA, when last you heard somebody did a 4-peat?
Without losing the game.
Well, we played 4 years, but we played 3 years without losing a
Without
game.
losing a game,
Right? So we had a record of like 56 and 3 losses over 4 years.
Wow.
Our last 2 years, we went undefeated. We had a record of like 46 consecutive wins before we decided to move on and take it somewhere else.
And it was a 1-point loss when they finally did.
Yeah, it was 1-point loss that blemished that record. Yeah, we blemished that record, but we came back and we beat that team by 56 points. These are facts. The videos are all over YouTube. So these are things that you can go and Google and research yourself.
The All Baby Brand has all this stuff too in our archive as well. Go to allbaby.com and see some of that stuff.
Yeah. And the thing about it, at that time, the 10th graders that I had were Delroy Granson.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Don't forget Daniel Bullard.
Yes.
Right? Right? Don't forget Bubba.
Rashad Bullard was there.
Van Hutchison. All these guys were still in grade 10. So if I had stayed in Westminster, we could have won that for an additional 2 years.
It was a dynasty, by all extents, but the 8-year dynasty.
Yeah, but it came to an end because we wanted to offer more, right? And this is how the birth of NPA came about.
Yes, that's
because even though we were being very successful at we were very creative. We were very successful at creating an entity and a brand in Westminster College where people actually had school pride. When I first went to Westminster, people didn't even want people to know that they attended that school. And I never was a part of an institution that, the whole entire campus were defeated. Spiritually defeated, mentally defeated. The first day I went to work there, we had an assembly and I asked the entire school, do you guys believe that we can win a championship? The entire school said no. And this really perplexed me because I wanted to know how do you get an entire school to feel like they're hopeless, right? So the only guys that stood up, and I asked the question again, if you believe that we can win, stand up. 6 guys stood up out of the entire school, and those were the ones that actually went to Westminster with me. Which were my son, Gino Bullard Jr., Rashad Morley, Eduardo Burrows, Morocco Lundy, Rashad Morley, which is Gonzo, and Larry Smith. So these, and Hershey.
All former or future All Bahamian selections, all top players in the Light League, all college educated individuals.
Yeah, so these were the only persons that actually stood up and said, Coach, we believe. So that's what really sparked a fire in me. That, come on, man, we have to do something here. It gave me a more incentive to say, guess what? We have to be successful. Yeah. And at the end of that year, after we won that championship, I had an assembly again and I asked them, do you believe now? And the whole entire school went crazy. Right? So you can imagine, after the 4th year, and I know I was on my way out, I asked the school again, do you guys believe? Because we had just won 4 consecutive that was unheard of in the GCCC of the assets. So the whole school went crazy, and we had phenomenal school pride, and I think that's the ultimate peak that Westminster will ever see as far as having that type of school involvement and that type of program running through the system. But we wanted to offer more because we actually had situations where I was trying to take the school in a direction, and I guess that the school didn't really want to go, or they wasn't prepared to do it at that time. So I said, okay, it's time for me to move on because I think I've already hit my ceiling, Even though another championship was right on the table for me to go ahead and grab again, I didn't want to be redundant. Right, I didn't want to be redundant and saying, listen, I've already proven that I can create something. Now I need to prove to myself now that I can create something for myself. Right? This was all on behalf of Westminster. So this is how the NPA became about, to say, okay, we want to be able to offer more as a student-athlete orientated school, that we can make sure that our athletes are being educated at the level that they can make an international transition. So after I left Westminster and we started NPA, we did not compete for 2 years in any athletics because I wanted to build a strong academic base, and I wanted persons out there to understand that even though that I am a coach, that we are an academic environment first off.
On that same note, in those 2 years, probably gave up how much championships? I mean, how much for sacrificing for the fact of education. And that's where we truly see and have somebody of a man of principle, somebody that's willing to go out on a limb on their own word, and with God, just people not believing. You know, I remember an interview in the media back then. They asked, well, why could you quit? Or how could you stop? You know, and to be honest, in all honesty, pretty much had basketball at a dominant level here in the Bahamas, and private school basketball for sure. But that then opened up the door for even greater success with Noble Prep Academy. Expand on the key thing here is student athlete. Just for the record, and anybody's open to challenge, just comment, like Facebook, send us a message, whatever. Send us proof though. You know, Noble Prep Academy and Coach Bullard has said the most, or has the most college placements or system in college placements of athletes and student athletes and regular students to university or colleges in the Bahamas. We're looking at right here, right now, the trailblazer to the now ever so popular Bahamas Canada student athlete pipeline.
All right, so when we first started traveling to Canada, man, I heard it all. You guys crazy. Nobody want to play basketball in Canada. You can't be successful if you go to Canada. Man, we've heard it all. Yeah. But if you realize that almost all of the top high school players, Jarrett,
RJ Barrett,
right?
Yes. RJ Barrett now.
All of these guys are from Canada.
Andrew Wiggins.
Right? Andrew Wiggins. All these guys are from Canada. And all these guys, right? All these guys are coming from a program that's a personal friend of mine. That we all did this together way back in the day. My students actually played against Andrew Wiggins and all these guys when they were still in high school. Yeah. So we have a great relationship with the Canadian Basketball Association. I'm also a coaching member of Canada Basketball. All right, so all of the coaches that are affiliated with Canada also affiliated with me. And being able to have a foresight to say that, guess what? We got to start looking at basketball outside the country. And this is why we travel to Canada. This is like from 14, 15 years ago. I see everybody's doing it now because it's now popular. But back then, nobody wanted to do it. Even with training in Cuba, right? We go to these countries and we play our national basketball and we get blown up from the same teams in the same countries that persons were saying I was crazy for being affiliated with. Right? And I can say, man, as far as Canada basketball and the way Canadian basketball system works, I can say from personal experience that I may be the most qualified person in regards to being able to coach in a Canadian system or being able to defeat a Canadian system by playing against them. I've been playing against Canada for over 15 years as a coach, and that's from a high school level to a club level, also to a college level. I've given up opportunities to coach college basketball in Canada to be able to follow my vision of NPA. And without this, we won't have the access for persons to come to me after graduating from every high school, whether it's government or private school, asking me, Coach, can you help me to get in college?
Tell us about NPA. Tell us about the academic aspects of Noble Prep Academy. Tell us about you told us about the vision. Tell us about what Noble Prep Academy does for countless behaviors.
Well, the first thing we do is re-motivate, re-energize, and give students the ability to want to attend school. You know, not just to show up, not just to hang out, but to actually apply themselves to be able to become more successful academically. And we have so many memorials on our walls and hallways through the school that can give students the encouragement to say, listen, if all these students have found success, why can't I? We travel to Canada, where I am also the manager of the Caribbean for Nairo College, which is another whole entity by itself. But we've been able to create a dynamic partnership with the college where we can transition our students directly from NPA straight on to college. We handle all of the application process, we do the visas, we do the housing, we even take students directly to the college when it's time to go. So it's a one-stop shop when it comes down to being able to guarantee a parent a postgraduate education directly from the Bahamas. If you're a basketball player, this is a bonus because what we do as well is train basketball athletes to be able to handle the college level or as a college athlete. We've already had in the last 4 years, all of the MVPs and Rookie of the Years that's at Nairo College has came directly from NPA.
On that same note, let's go down with the facts. We have Van Hutchison, you have Jordan Wilson, you have Kevin Cooper, you have Morocco Lundy, actually one of the top players in there.
We have Gerard Richardson. We have Delroy Madison.
Yes.
We have Tanero Ferguson.
Yes.
We could go on and on, but the guys who were actually MVPs and Rookie of the Years were Morocco Lundy, Van Hutchison Jr., Kevin Cooper, and Delroy Madison. And that's four students from our program in a row. So we're talking about consecutive now, again, not over 2 years, the 2 year period, and then somebody from China or somebody from another program end up coming and being the MVP. But it speaks volumes because these students are actually graduating. Delroy has a degree. He's doing welding in Canada right now, where he has a phenomenal job, paying him over $40 to $50 an hour. So we're looking at what is the ultimate result of education and being able to play basketball, which should be success. Whether you continue with your basketball career or not, you should still have simultaneous success. Definitely. And we can say through students coming from us as a local institution, a local preparatory institution, that many parents actually have to pay to send their kids to, that we are pushing out and providing more opportunities here locally than the parents are having success in sending these kids abroad and hoping that somebody help them to get straight. All right, so once again, we have had consecutive, and I'm saying over the last 4 to 5 years, every year we have had a Rookie of the Year, and we've had an MVP that came directly from NPA. Some of them came from our postgraduate program, like Kevin Cooper. The postgraduate is a grade 13 that actually allows students to take all college courses throughout the entire year, and they also get opportunity to work on their basketball skills to make them a better marketable student athlete upon transitioning from NPA onto college. And even with Shamal Burrows ended up going to Ridley College, which is one of the top boarding schools in Canada. Fresh.
1. Ladies and gentlemen, sorry for the interruption. No technical difficulties, but we're back. Again, part 2 of our segment with Coach Eugene Bullard. Coach Bullard, before we interrupt, we're just about to go into opportunities for people in the Bahamas about, tell us a little bit about, if I'm not a basketball player, tell us about what's going on, what's happening with Noble Prep Academy. Tell us how we can reach you, how we can contact you.
Okay, well, Noble Prep is not just an athletic-based school. It's for any persons out there looking for a quality education, somewhere they could come and be themselves and find a home that can encourage them to dig deep inside and find whatever it is that they're good at, and we can help them to develop that product and transition them onto some institution of higher learning where they can even enhance that onto a better level. All right, so people, because of my background as a coach, they assume that we're just an athletic-based school. But we're actually out there for any persons who are looking to take their education and looking for an opportunity to be somebody in life, man. For instance, I would have briefly mentioned our affiliation with Nairo College, which I am also the manager of the Caribbean. We have over 120 different programs that our Bahamian students are just not aware of. We are under the estimation that we can only be a doctor, a lawyer, work to charisma, get a government job, or do all the basic things that we have been, I would say, socialized to believe that there's the only things that are out there. But we are very behind our counterparts in the world because we're just not being exposed to what is outside of the country. And what we do at NPA is we give our students the opportunity to understand exactly what opportunities are out there for them, not by talking, by also taking them and let them see and touch these items themselves. We travel to our college every year where they actually get to see their former students who have graduated in the environment, and it all becomes real and alive to them because they see that there's at NPA as well, but we also give our valedictorian a full scholarship to Naira College. So that means that you have to graduate on top of your class, not just academically, but holistically. The entire being of who you are as your character is what we want you to develop. So it just can't be, I have the highest grades. We want to know your activity in school. Who have you helped, you know? I challenge students almost on a daily basis to find themselves. What have you done as far as securing your legacy? If something happened to you today or tomorrow, what would people say about you? So we just don't want the students to exist. We want them to step out of their shell and be able to be some type of significant contribution to our society. Right. Our grade system is much more higher than the local system because we have full access to our academic curriculums from the institutions that we are part of. So we have a very high academic standing where our students have to graduate with a 3-point average in order to walk across our graduation diploma night. So it's so much going on, and we have so much incentives, like I said, in place to encourage the students every day to come to school and want to learn. So if you are looking for that atmosphere where your student or your child can find success on an academic level or academic base, or have some type of hidden talent inside that they just can't find a way to enhance or to get out of the shell, we recommend you to give us a call or give us a try at NPA.
How do we reach you? How do we reach you?
Okay, we are on Facebook at NPA Bahamas. NPA Bahamas. You just type that in, it'll come up.
Any numbers?
We are 242-676-0055 or 56. You can also give us an email at info@NPA Bahamas. We're on Twitter. We are on Instagram as well, NPA Bahamas. So we have all these different handles for you guys to be able to go and outreach to us. And I always say, like we started the show, don't believe me, go there and do your research. It's all facts. All right. Anything that we have discussed, you can go on and Google NPA. You can Google Naira College. You can Google Mr. Eugene Bullard, and all this information will come up.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've had a great interview here with a legend. The pipeline, the bridge to a better education, to a better basketball program, to better innovation relative to here and basketball here in the Bahamas, and education, which is key here in the Bahamas. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. Coach Bullard, Mr. Bullard, thank you for being here and being a part of us. Again, Noble Prep Academy, some basketball history. You've been watching the All Bahamian. Thank you for tuning in.